Hi there, and thanks for joining us. You're listening to the Pension Life Podcast.
Top 3 worst pension and investment scams. Hi there. Welcome to the Pension Life YouTube channel. Here we talk about all things pension and investment scam related. If you find these videos useful, please help us out with a like and subscribe. By sharing these videos or by supporting our channel, you can help more people avoid becoming victims of the scammers. Here we name 3 of the worst pension scams in the last decade. Pension scams have been devastating lives for years. Billions of pounds have been stolen from thousands of pension savers, creating financial ruin and destroying lives. All pension scams start with a transfer out of the original pension provider to one that promises higher returns. This is usually the main hook for victims. But this is a completely false promise, as the money will be invested in high-risk investment that will pay high commissions to the scammers. This will only deplete the pension pot. Some of the key clues that the proposed transfer is a scam include the proposal to move to a bogus occupational scheme, a SIP or QROPS, when none of these options are suitable or safe. The promise of guaranteed returns and tax-free cash also feature prominently in many pension scams. The third worst pension scam is store first, store pods. Over 2,000 victims lost their pensions. Victims were scammed out of their pensions by the false promise of so-called guaranteed returns of 8% a year in rent earned from the store pods. Victims were also promised that they could have their money back after 5 years. Victims were cold called and promised access to tax-free money from their pensions if they transferred into the new pension arrangements, occupational schemes or SIPs. The guaranteed returns were not paid as promised and, in fact, were usually paid to the scammers rather than to the pension savers. Nobody got their money back. Many of the pods were left empty, not earning any rental income, which meant 0 returns. Even with no returns and no money back, investors still had to pay ground rent and service charges for the empty store pods. £18 million was lost through store first store pods in the Capita Oak and Henley occupational pension schemes. Over £200 million was lost through store first store pods in SIPs such as Carey and Berkeley Burke. Much of the money went up in smoke in hidden commissions to the scammers, up to 46%. The rest of the money went to buy the store first store pods and to pay various expenses and fees to the scammers and their associates. The second worst pension scam is Dolphin Trust, later renamed German Property Group. Dolphin Trust was a property investment company based in Hanover, Germany. It was eventually classified as a pyramid scheme. Dolphin Trust used investors' money to buy derelict government buildings in Germany at knockdown prices. They then claimed to convert them into high-end residential apartments. Proceeds from the sales of these apartments were then supposed to go back to the investors as returns. Some of the buildings that Dolphin Trust claimed to have purchased were not really owned by them at all. In the early days, there were some payouts to investors, but for the last decade, Dolphin Trust was just buying properties with other people's money and leaving them to rot. A document filed in court revealed that the group held around 70 properties, the majority of which were not being developed, and with many in various states of disrepair. When the Dolphin Trust scam collapsed, around 2,000 people were owed £1.2 billion. The properties still owned by the company at the time of bankruptcy are estimated to be worth no more than £150 million collectively. There is little hope of investors getting their money back. The number 1 worst pension scam is British Steel Pension Scheme. In 2017, British Steel announced the restructuring of a £14 billion pension fund to help keep its UK loss-making operations afloat. The government and the regulators failed to protect 124,000 members from a major mis-selling scandal. according to the Work and Pensions Select Committee. 8,000 steelworkers collectively transferred about £2.8 billion from the company's pension scheme when it was restructured in 2017. These steelworkers took unsuitable advice from rogue financial advisors in the process, with these advisors regulated by the FCA. Many of the steelworkers' pensions ended up in unsuitable, unregulated, illiquid investments such as holiday flats in Cape Verde. The regulator said that close to half, 46%, of all the advice it had reviewed turned out to be unsuitable. Advisors will now be forced to pay compensation to those who received unsuitable advice and switched away. The FCA said it would deliver compensation worth £71.2 million to those who were misled. Collectively, these three scams took over £4 billion from these poor victims. The ruin this creates for people is devastating. The victims can lose their homes, their financial security, their marriages, and even their lives. For most, there is little or no hope of recovering their lost pension. Everything they had worked for, their whole lives being taken away in the blink of an eye. To try to stop this widespread financial crime, governments, regulators, and crime agencies need to be stricter. And the media have a duty to spread the word to create awareness for the general public to be informed, forewarned, and on their guard. All too often, journalists decide that they can't be bothered to write a story about pension scammers and their victims because it isn't sexy enough. If you would like to learn more about pension scams, please check out our other videos. Thank you for watching.
And that's it for today's Pension Life podcast. For more information, please visit www.pension-life.com.